Welcome, everyone. Wow, what an honor and privilege for us to be together like this across many, many time zones. Bruce, I was just watching, and we've got Trinidad, Tobago, Australia, London, Europe. We have a poor person from India saying it's 1:30 in the morning, guys. Did you could you have picked a different time? United States and
New
just
Zealand.
New Zealand. Yes, one of your favorite places, I
Yeah.
know. And you, of course.
And you know what I noticed is a number of them represent indigenous people.
Ah, that is
A
amazing.
number of, I'm so happy because if we're to learn anything, we really have to go back to an indigenous consciousness. And so I'm so glad they're with us.
Yes, 100%. I mean, what an honor for us to gather. And I want to just thank all of you personally and you, Bruce, for taking the time during this hour for all of us to gather in community. This is really precious. And I'm very grateful to, the technology, but also the team. Thank you, Caitlin, Nicolay, Remy, Annie, Alex, Laura, for everything, that our team is doing to support us behind the scenes so that we can gather together in real time. It feels very precious. And we're here for a really important conversation, yes?
Yes. In the chaos of the world, there's a message for us. And between Shamini and myself, we're here to offer some insight to the meaning of that message. Knowledge is power. And what we want to offer you is some knowledge of what's going on in the midst of what looks like chaos, random chaos. It's not random, something special is happening.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And even the understanding of what chaos is when we look at it from the scientific perspective is sometimes we think it's random, but it's actually not. It's just
Right.
in a nutshell, it's a lot of energy, right? There's a
Uh, uh,
lot of energy.
why it appears random is that it requires so much data that you can't conceive of. You know, a butterfly moves its wings in the tropics and it influences the weather in North America, and then therefore, if you really want to know what's going on, then you have to include every butterfly in the world to see what's going on. In other words, too much data, so then we guess. And
Hmm.
it looks random, but as you said, and very important underneath it all, Shamini, is this is not random.
Yeah. 100% not random. And our goals for the hour include just a frank conversation between all of us. And I think Caitlin said we're going to have some time also to answer any questions or, talk about topics that are really resonant with you all right now. We have some sense of what that is because we're all kind of feeling the same. And the focus today is about from overwhelm to coherence because that is the name of the game when things feel like they have this much energy and in the vernacular of feeling chaotic, most of us feel like, overwhelmed, right? This is bowling over with energy. A lot of us, I'm going to name it, a lot of us are feeling really strong emotions right now. Some of us are feeling grief and sadness. Some of us are feeling rage and anger. Some of us are feeling confused. But these are really strong emotions. And, for my part, I'm excited, Bruce, to talk a bit about how we work with these strong emotions in these really strong times and how when we do that and we work with it from the energetic and consciousness based level, we can come into coherence. And we want to talk about some other things today too, right? Like what happens when we come into coherence? What happens when that happens?
But perhaps, if you give me an opportunity, I'd like to summarize why we're having the chaos. There's a reason.
That'd be
It's
amazing.
not an accident. Here's the point. Today's civilization requires the resources of 1.6 planet Earth. Well, do the math. We have one planet Earth. Where is the extra zero point 0.6 resources coming from that supports our civilization? And the answer is we're pillaging the planet. We're destroying the ecosystem. And in the process, removing all the minerals and nutrients and destroying the water and the air. And I mean, human behavior is not in harmony with nature. And the problem about that is a lot of people fail to recognize we are an evolution of the garden. We are an expression of the garden. And if we destroy the garden, then we can't be here. Well, at the extent that we're destroying the garden, science has recognized within the next 20 years, there's something, I want to emphasize the word irreversible collapse of civilization. Irreversible means, and I want to emphasize, we're not going back to some previous time. Problems were there already. We have to move ahead and prepare for a new future that's happening right now. It's a competition-based system right now. Darwin, competition, survival of the fittest in the struggle for life. Competition, in the term that we're using today, is a winner-loser. And if we look at the world and the extent of this competition, we find that 1% has half of all the wealth of the planet. And I go, well, the profound part is not focused on the 1% and the half, is that it's the half that's left over that 8 billion people are trying to use when half of the resources have already been removed. And this is causing a competition, which then fits the whole Darwinian scheme. Well, the problem with that is evolution is not based on Darwinian theory. Darwinian theory is the cause of big problem here because of the nature of competition and competing with each other, struggling. It even says in the struggle for life. The reality is Darwin was wrong. And the whole idea that was promulgated by Darwinian theory is the idea that genes control the character of life. Well, then I said, what does that mean to you as an individual if I tell you genes control life? And the answer is this. It means, as far as you know, you didn't pick the genes. You don't like the characteristics, can't change the genes. And add to the fact that we tell you genes turn on and off by themselves, then we're left with a consciousness called genetic determinism. The belief that our lives are pre-programmed at the moment we are conceived with the genes that will get us through this. Well, as I mentioned, we didn't pick them, we can't change them, and they go on and off by themselves. It says, if you understand that, we are believing that we are victims of our heredity. And the significance of that is victim means powerless, that we feel that we have no power over what's going on here like this. This is 100% wrong. Because with a new understanding of a science called epigenetics, where consciousness overrides genes, as well as quantum science, where we've been focusing on the material realm, and when it's really the invisible realm that is shaping our experience and how we live our lives on this planet, we're facing an upheaval of all the knowledge. And if you don't understand it, you're lost. Knowledge is power. A lack of knowledge is a lack of power. And people feel powerless because I'm a victim of change. I have no control. It's out of control. And the thing that connects us, there's something built into all biological organisms called the biological imperative. So, what's that? It's the drive to survive. Every organism, from a bacterium to a human, has the biological imperative to survive, overcome. You try and kill bacteria, they'll do everything in their capability to survive whatever you just did. Even a bacterium will drive to survive. Well, guess what? You are now recognizing that survival on this planet is questionable. And you know, maybe I don't know what it is, but you can feel that it's not working and things are in trouble and we're seeing the chaos. And I'm going, we're in, and this is the most important part, an evolutionary upheaval. The old way is going, and a new way of life is coming into our reality. This new way of life joins Shamini and myself. Why? Because we are both aware of the nature of the absolute control of your life is in your consciousness. And that if you knew this and were empowered by it, we can transition easily into a future world, not based on survival, based on thriving. Imagine a planet where it's not based on struggle. A very simple point is this. A garden is the height of cooperation. Every organism in that garden is creating a cooperative picture. And the issue is, we've been destroying the garden.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that we have to come back and recognize we are the garden. And that if human cooperation is fundamental, which it is, then we have to bring people together in a world that has been based on separation. And we have so much to talk about, and I don't want to keep going. I just wanted to
Oh, I
proceed
think
with
that
the
was a
fact.
beautiful framing, Bruce. I really, just so much wisdom always that comes out of you. And from my side, as I was listening to you, what really struck me was this new way of being. And thank you for dispelling the myths and the narrowness of the Darwinian paradigm. We're super, you guys, Bruce has got a new book coming out in August. We're so excited. It's called Beyond Darwin, right?
Yes, it's the book about the evolution that we are in process of experiencing right now, which means a way, it's fundamental. It's changing the behavior we were, and I'm going to use this word, we'll come back to it, programmed with. We
Yes.
have to reprogram to take our power back. And that's why I love working with Shamini because her whole organization, CHI, if you just want to mention it to the
Sure.
wonderful community out there, is involved with what? Program change.
Yeah. 100% program change in education because as Bruce said, knowledge is power. So for those of you who haven't met me, my name is Shamini Jain, and I'm the founder and president of a beautiful nonprofit organization called Consciousness and Healing Initiative, or CHI. And for anyone who's interested, you can go to chi.is and learn more. We have monthly gatherings with leading lights in the fields like it, including Bruce. I hope this year we'll be able to talk more about his book. But I want to come back to what you were talking about, Bruce, around waking up to new ways of being, and the sense of survival and what we mean by that. And as you said, we are the garden. And you mentioned in the beginning of the call that we're so privileged to have folks from the indigenous communities here with us on this call. So this knowledge is not new. We are just having to reckon with the fact that we have separated ourselves from life force as I see it. So when I hear survival and I hear about organisms and I hear about all of this, naturally, being an energy person, which is what I've personally kind of delved into from both the science side and the practice side for several decades now, this is all about recognizing and honoring the life force within us and between us and all things because we are not separate. And these ancient traditions, whether we called it Ashe, Masubi, Shakti, were life force energy. And guess what? In those traditions, life force energy meant power. Power is Shakti, power is Ashe, power is Masubi. And when we come into alignment with power, which is who we truly are as vibrating beings of life force energy, recognizing the beauty of all life and being in harmony with it, that's how we realign the world. And yet we're dealing with the crumbling of these old systems of thought, these systems of separation, of oppression, of ignorance, of greed, lots of things that we can name. So we're in this really interesting age of, the Piscean age moving into the age of Aquarius. And, for those of you who know, I actually I've been studying with a healing teacher for many decades. Her name is Reverend Rosalind Bruyere. Many of you who are healers know who she is, and really privileged to work with her and study with her. And she's made me less dumb about healing for the last 25 years. She's also the oracle for the Tibetan Bon Po tradition. And I just want to frame this discussion a little bit in terms of what we're dealing with this juxtaposition of the ages and the year of the fire horse, because I know there's a lot of interest in this. She channels several ascended masters, and I'm just going to go fully spiritual here, guys. Those of you who know me know that I'm fully scientific and fully spiritual. We have many divine beings here to help us, and part of aligning our energy is to align with the spirit in everything. And this is what the indigenous traditions also teach us, that we are all spirit. And this is actually based in science and in physics in many ways. Bruce and I will be talking about that and some of the teachings that we're going to be sharing beyond this call that relate to that, really bridging that science and spirituality perspective. But when we take that longer view, this is what I'd like to share from my time that I recently had with Rosalind and some of the masters that she shares from. we can take the long view because, as Bruce said before we even started the call, this isn't over. This isn't over. We're seeing a crumbling of a system into a new system. And when we take this long view of this age, moving into the age of Aquarius, it is our lifetime, but it's even beyond our lifetime. And the coherence that we bring now, the light that we bring in now, the coherence that we bring in now will shape the trajectory for the next 2,000 years. Not just our generation, not just our children's, but as it said, 7 generations and generations to come. So with that, I'll pause, Bruce, and just see where you want to go next.
Well, I want to bring up the topic of spirituality for a scientific point of view. It's important to me to say this because spirituality is a buzzword. Oh, I'm spiritual. I say, what do you mean by that? Well, what we have to understand is simply this. A human is like the equivalent of a television set. And in our cells, there are antennas called receptors, receivers, and they're called self-receptors. And I said, what does that represent? Each of us is downloading a field of information from the environment, and no two people are downloading the same so-called station. No two people have the same set of self-receptors. Every human is downloading a signal unique to them and nobody else. And so when I say, where's Bruce? Well, you can see me as this physical entity, but what you're missing is there's a broadcast that I'm downloading and playing through this physical body. I am the field. In quantum physics, that's the energy. And I'm a field of information being received by this device called the body. The significance of that is then our lives are not, the single entity thing. We are immortal. And I say that from a scientific point of view. And I'll give you the example very simply. Imagine you're watching a show on a television, and the television breaks. And we say, television's dead, not working. My question is the broadcast that the program was. Is the broadcast die when the TV dies? I go, nope. The broadcast is not in the TV. The broadcast is in the energy field around us. Significance is this. Quantum physics uses the word field as invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. Field. Guess what? Definition of spirit. Invisible moving forces that influence the physical field. This is why quantum physics gives us a scientific foundation for the concept of an immortal identity of who we are. And then you might say, well, then why are we here in this body? And the answer is, the body is an extension of who we are. I go, an extension? Yeah, I go, in consciousness, I can give you a definition. We'll talk about love. Love means this, love means that, love means this. But with a body, love has a feeling. With a body, the energy has vision. With a body, there's a sense of smell, a sense of taste, a sense of touch, a sense of feeling, love, anger, fear, whatever. The body is an extension. And we are blessed to have this, to come into this world. And if I was to give you a summary, which is something I've learned and I'm so excited to now experience in my life, a lot of people think, well, if you die, you can go to this place called heaven, wherever. I'm going to tell you an insight from a scientific point of view. Heaven is a personal creation. Guess what? So is life. That actually, you don't die and go to heaven. You were gifted this body, this mechanism to manifest your vision, to manifest creation, to manifest what life is all about. I said, give me a definition of heaven. Well, your definition entails we have to have all this stuff here. And all of a sudden, I said, but you have all this stuff here. Why? We are in heaven. This is your zone of creation. And you look and you go, but my life doesn't look like anything like it should be heaven. I go, well, there's a field of energy, and you are part of that field. So is everybody else a part of that field. And we're influenced by this field. I'll give you the most important quote that I like from Einstein. The field, the energy, is the sole governing agency of matter, the body. The field generates everything you're experiencing right now. And it becomes very important because you are the field. And then I say, well, uh, if I'm in the field, then how come it doesn't look like heaven? And I go, because, and we're going to extend this, and I'm going to turn it over to Shamini. Uh, we've been programmed. Now, many of you have seen the movie The Matrix, and I want to suggest something. The Matrix is listed as science fiction. I see The Matrix as a documentary. Why? Its premises are all the people are programmed, and in the Matrix, you try to get out of the program, you take a red pill. I'm going to give you a suggestion right now that all of us have been programmed. That's not a suggestion, that's a scientific reality. We can go into that.
Yeah.
And there's this opportunity to get out of the program with amazing results. I say, what is it? I say, if you've ever fallen in love, what happens, science recognizes love is the equivalent of the red pill. It takes us out of the program and puts us into personal creation. I go, why is that relevant? When you fell in love, your world changed in 24 hours. What was hell could have been heaven 24 hours later. You could have looked around and said, I'm so in love and everything is beautiful and everything is great and the food, the love, the music, and oh, I love my life. I go, that was your creation. And yet, how come love was able to do that? And the answer is love takes us out of playing the program. And the program we play 95% of the day. And I'm going to let Shamini take over in a second after I give two more facts about that.
Yes, please.
One is the mind has a conscious mind, which is a creative element, which is where wishes and desires reside. And the mind also has a subconscious program. The subconscious program is the equivalent of a hard drive in a computer. It's got programs. Push a button, program plays. Push a button. It's supposed to be for our convenience. And, I'll give you a simple example. When did you learn how to walk? Well, it took you a while when you were under two to learn how to walk. Guess what? It became a program. And now you can walk, you don't think about it. It's automatic. You could be walking 80, 100 years on this planet from that program you got before too. And so there are good programs and there are bad programs. The
100%.
programs that are bad, which I call them that, because they take away your power. And when you feel powerless, then you feel you are the victim. And if you are the victim, you will seek power and help from other places, other people, not thinking of yourself as involved. And the fact is, you are the creator of this, and you can change that creation. Falling in love was an example of how quickly you can change the creation. Unfortunately, falling in love has that honeymoon period, and generally when that honeymoon period ends, you're back in the program, and that's where all the problems show up in life. So we have programs, last fact, and then Germany. The brain is like a computer. It's not like it is a computer, okay? And the brain boots up 3 months before you're born, the screen lights up. And in the old days, you would buy a computer and it didn't come with programs. And you get this brand new computer, thousands of dollars, and you push start and the screen lights up, it boots up, and I say, do something. You say, no, I can't. I said, what do you mean? You got a brand new computer. And they say, not until I put the programs in. The human programming occurs starting 3 months before you're born through age 7. Your brain is not operating at a level of consciousness. It's operating at a lower, they call vibration, called theta, which is imagination and character. That's why children live in half the real and half the imaginary world. But theta is hypnosis. And that's how you got your program. Your program came from other people, not from you. It came from observing your parents, your community, your teachers, your clergy. These were programs that were put in. And if they don't answer what you want or they disempower you, it's in the program. Just as much as walking could be, once it's in your program, it's in there for life. You can change this program, but you are playing a program because 95% of the day, science recognizes life is not coming from conscious creative mind. 95% of the day, your life is being expressed through the programs. And you can't see these programs because the reason why you're playing these programs, because the conscious mind, instead of looking out at the world and driving you to where you want to go, the conscious mind can think. Oh, so what? Thinking is not looking out. Thinking is looking in. But if you're carrying on your life, driving a car, talking to somebody, doing your job, and you start thinking, you're not there. And I said, well, then how come I didn't wreck the car when I was thinking about what I was going to do at the store? And the answer is because, and here's the fact, once you start thinking, your life is controlled by the program. And you, as the thinker, not looking at the world, are playing programs that you do not even see, but everybody else does. And they're reacting to your programs, they're not reacting to you because you don't even see the program. And that's where we acquire victim. I was thinking all these positive things, and look at all the negative coming here. I go, well, the problem was you were thinking all these positive things. You weren't doing the positive things. And as a result, your program was sabotaging you, and you're the only one who could not see that. Everybody else saw your program. You personally don't see the program. Why? You're thinking and you're not paying attention. Now, dealing with the program, I'm going to turn this over to my dear buddy, Shamini.
Well, thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate it. So much wisdom. And I know we're throwing a lot out at you guys right now, a lot of points of discussion. And a couple of things I want to say about that. One, as Bruce said in the beginning of the hour, knowledge is power. And what I'd like to add to that is practice is the ability to actualize that power, right? So, and that is what we need to do now. And the theme of this, of course, is from overwhelm to coherence. And as I shared, I'm an energy person. So I really think about this in terms of energy. And when we think about these programs and kind of what can sometimes almost feel like assaults on our consciousness right now, why? Because we all carry these programs, right? And they come from childhood, they come from the environment, and it can feel really overwhelming. And yet, as Bruce said, the reality is love. And we know that, but sometimes it's hard to feel that experience. And what I would like to add to that is that, part of what we're also talking about is the art and science of conscious creation. Conscious creation comes from that alignment with our pure life force energy, which has the ripples of emotion within it because we're human and we don't want to bypass the emotions. This isn't about, oh, I'm just going to return to love and ignore everything that's going out in the world. No, it's quite the opposite. It's about being the love warriors, right? To be able to carry that love out, to ask for justice, to ask for healing, to play our role in that process because every single one of us is a conscious creator, but we do need knowledge. We do need practice. We need to be reminded of the divinity within us and between us so that we move forward in a coherent way. So we don't have to feel bad about our programs. We just have to recognize them. And I'm really not trying to upsell you guys, but I do want to tell you that one of the things that we are going to offer is a course that's going to deepen your abilities to connect with energy and to be able to reflect and look at your program. So there's a knowledge is power part of our offering, which is an immersive program that we're going to really be diving more deeply into some of these topics, including the science, where Bruce is going to be talking about physics, epigenetics, programming and reprogramming. I'm taking a really strong stance in the research from psychoneuroimmunology, which is my background. My PhD is in that, and clinical psychology. But I'm going to be focusing a lot too on practices of energy and the use of sound as an entry point for us to feel our energy and come back into coherence. We'll tell you more about that later, but right now, if you're feeling okay about this, Bruce, I'm feeling very much called to bringing us together into a practice right now because I feel like it's such an honor and privilege for all of us to be together in real time, and I want to make sure that we're all feeling the love that's here between us and feeling that coherence of love so that when we step off of this hour, we're really being carried with this collective energy and this collective coherence that we can manifest together right here and right now, whatever is going on in our lives that we came to the call with. So, is it okay if I lead us in a little bit of collective?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing about our audience. And the significance of our audience is that I would call them cultural creatives. And I say that because everybody in this audience is looking for answers to the problems that are not in the box. And they're not going to be found in your conventional world box because that would try to keep us in the box. And what we're talking about, let me out of the box. Let me be creative. Let me have the life I want. Can you have it? The answer is yes, 100%. But you also have to know how to get there and outside of the programming that is limiting us. And practices that Shamini offer can give you that guidance to take your power back. So I'll just sit here and get involved with Shamini's plan right now.
Great. Well, we're just going to do a collective field practice. So, because what's within is between us. And so I'm going to invite all of us, if we're sitting, to just make sure that our feet are comfortably planted on the ground. And if it's comfortable, keep your spine kind of straight. The reason why we do that is because it's easier for the energy to flow. If anyone is laying down, it's perfectly fine to do this laying down as well and just allow your body to completely relax and be supported by the bed or the floor, wherever you are. But just take a minute to kind of come in here to the body and feel your feet on the ground as a first step. And part of being a conscious creator is just opening to divine play. So, and I mentioned sound as a powerful, powerful way for us to align with coherence because sound in the ancient traditions is consciousness, actually. And that's really deep in the Vedic tradition. I talk about it, I believe, in the course. Let's acquaint ourselves with our sound here because this is about feeling our energy and our vibration. So, this is very simple and fun. We're just going to begin with some nice hums. You might do this when you wake up in the morning or even in the shower, and we just allow for the energy of the hum to bring the energy down from the head all the way in the body and allow it to descend all the way down the legs, out of the feet and into the ground so that we are uniting the energetic field of heaven and earth. And so it feels like this. I think we have got you guys muted, but I'm watching you so I can kind of tell if you're practicing or not. So we just start with and do this a few times at your own pace and really working with the pitch of your voice as you want. It can be high, it can be low, it can move. I want you to just start to feel this vibration in your physical body as well as in your energy because these are not separate things. And you may want to even feel like you're opening to a vowel. So it could be ah, ooh, whatever feels good. Ah. One more time, maybe with a vowel. Now I'd like you to take your awareness and bring it into your heart center. Maybe feel some little tingling, buzziness. Different people feel different things. If you feel like it, you can throw it in the chat, but you don't have to. Just stay present with the experience of this sound vibrating through your body. You can continue to do that. But as you continue to make the sound, whether it's in an sound or a vowel, ah, ooh, See if you can place it here in the heart center. And really just allow this to resonate. And you can even use the seed mantra Om. Now, if you like, we do this, of course, in yoga class, meditation. Om is the universal sound, right? Om. Maybe even placing your hand on your heart. Om. Doesn't even have to be a big sound. And take a minute to just feel your energy, your heart, and the field around you, holding your body, because you are spirit in a body, and you can feel your spirit, you can feel your body, you can feel your heart. And the heart is such a powerful portal. Such a powerful portal for connection, so we're going to expand this even further. And as you breathe into your heart, you can choose to make sound or simply breathe, it's your choice. Breathe into the front and the back of your heart, so that you're feeling both the front of the chest and behind the chest, the back of the heart. In many energetic and spiritual traditions, we receive love and support from the back of the heart. The heart and the heart center is this perfect organ, energy portal for giving and receiving. When we feel that giving energy, we can feel it really moving from the heart down the arms and out the hands. And so you can feel that energy, but we're receiving too. We're receiving from each other. We're receiving from guidance. So if you feel comfortable, I'd like you to place your awareness on the back of your heart now and just breathe comfortably. Feeling the back of the heart, still very grounded, feeling your feet, but opening this back of the heart to guidance. And here, you can ask for support from your guidance. That may be for you, ancestors. It may be angels, guides, animal spirits, each other, your higher self. Take a moment to simply ask for support and alignment. And feel that support, that spirit has your back and our backs. Maybe you notice an energetic shift. And you can feel the love that we are generating together, the field of support and love that is naturally coherent. Relax into this. Feeling that support of the field, your guidance, your personal guidance, yourself, far more limitless than you may have imagined. Thanking any supporters, any guides that have come to help us with this collective practice, and knowing that you can come back to this practice because the field is always nourishing us. Giving thanks to yourself for engaging in a practice. When you're ready, if you've had your eyes closed, you can open them. This is the beauty of being able to connect to the field. And there are so many wonderful practices to bring us into coherence. This is just one. And I want to name that every culture across the world has these practices. They don't have to be trademarked. They're not special. They exist in yoga. They exist in Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, energy healing, spiritual practice, prayer. It's just a reminder for us to come into our practice. For me, I love sound and energy, so that's my practice, and that's part of what I teach, and that's part of what you'll see in the course if you choose to learn more about it. But thank you for the opportunity to facilitate.
If I could, can I step in now, my dear friend?
Please, Bruce.
When a lot of you hear the concept of energy, it sounds so new age. That's such a new age thing. I want to say, far from it. It is the most foundational science of this entire planet that Shamini is talking about. I go, what is it? I say, quantum physics is the most valid, truthful of all the sciences on this planet. I go, so what's different about quantum physics and the physics from Newton or classical physics? And the difference is this. The old physics has the universe in two realms, a material physical realm and an energetic, invisible realm. That physical things affect physical things, energy things affect energy things, but energy and physical things did not interact in that classical nature. And I go, profoundly important, for example, in medicine, until very recently, the concept of consciousness, mind, and spirit have never been part of a medical practice. That was the invisible energy, the New Age, the metaphysics. In 1927, the new physics was established, and it showed something that was profoundly important, and that is this. What we perceive of as matter is made out of atoms. Yes, but what quantum physics revealed that an atom is actually a spinning vortex of energy, like a top. I say, then an atom is energy. I go, yeah. So anything made out of atoms is also energy. Yes. And the fact is, energies entangle. There are two views of energy. One waves like on an ocean. The other is energy spinning like a top. The spinning energy is what we perceive as matter. The other invisible waves are like that, but they both interact. And the quote from Einstein, again, the field, which is the energy, is the sole governing agency of the physical. And this is important because everything that's physical has a vibration. And everything that has a vibration can entangle with other energy. And two energies can come together that are in harmony and create greater energy, good vibes, more power. But two energies that are not in harmony come together, they can cancel each other, and there's no energy, that's called bad vibes. Okay? Well, we live in a world of vibes. And the energy field is shaping what things are active and what things are canceled. Now comes the fact. We used to think our thought energy was contained in our head. We put wires on our head and read our brain consciousness, EEG, electroencephalograph, with the belief that our thoughts are in our head. No, there's a new technology that reads brain function called MEG, magnetoencephalograph. I said, what's important? The probe that is reading your brain waves, fields, is out here. I said, well, wait a minute, my thoughts are not, I'm broadcasting. I go, guess what? When you broadcast a field of energy, it interacts with the other fields, entangles. And therefore, our thoughts can create something very positive, good vibes, or our thoughts can create something very negative, bad vibes. And all of a sudden, then the idea of thought, which was left out of our conventional world of Newtonian physics, is like fundamental in shaping the experience that you have. Your thoughts are creating this reality.
A hundred
But
percent. And you know
yeah,
what is striking me about this too is what the data is saying, picking up on what we were saying, Bruce. First of all, we can measure a lot of this energy, and we do. And we're talking about coherence. There are so many studies now that are showing us that when we come together in collective practice like we just did, meditation, actually dancing, singing together, and again, indigenous cultures knew this. This is why we do ceremony together. This is why we dance together, and we dance with the earth, not just on it, right? There is an energetic coherence that is actually measurable, and there are many studies that have shown the coherence between our brain waves when we engage in cooperative activities like this that stimulate joy, that stimulate creativity, that stimulate a felt sense of coherence, because we're unifying with the field. It's really that simple. And so the field is feeding us, and we can actually measure that. We are actually measuring that. Not only that, the studies are now showing that when we come into this field coherence, we cooperate better. And so, I don't want to get into all the data. I talk about it, I think, in the course, and in other talks that I've given, but this is very real. It's not just imagination, and it's not just psychological. It's energetic. It's even physically measurable. Our coherence matters. Our creativity matters. And we haven't had a lot of time to talk about creativity yet, but we are in the course. And I want to honor, Bruce, I know we're getting close to the top of the hour. We may have some questions. I know that Caitlin is kind of managing questions that people might be asking. Um, I don't know if Caitlin, you're going to bring up any information about next steps for us. Bruce does so many things, as you guys know. I do too. We're out there. We're teaching in different ways, online and also at retreats. But I'm really honored, Bruce, to be doing this course with you because you are one of my all-time favorite humans on the planet, first of all. Second of all, I know that you and I really share a real passion for bringing people to their power, their agency, and their creativity. And all I want to say is this is vital. We are bringing in the new change. And part of that means you discovering your creativity, your creative life force, and the gifts that you are going to bring out into the world through your own blessings and gifts that you have, and also in conscious communities. So we do have a module kind of immersion that we're doing that is going to involve some live interaction with me and Bruce, as well as self-guided videos where we're deepening our discussion about some of the science and also giving practices. And I know I was told I need to mention the bonuses. Well, this is actually exciting because Bruce just mentioned he's doing a new course, a new book. And in his new book, he's actually generously giving us the prologue. So we get to actually read the prologue before the book is even out in August, which I'm
there's
super
also
excited
a
about.
chapter on the science of spirituality. In
It's
other words,
amazing.
take it from a new age thing and make it quantum physics. And then spirituality has a very powerful influence from a science point of view, not new age.
Exactly, 100%. So, anyway, you'll learn about all of this, in addition to the course itself. Bruce is generously offering some things. I am too. So, we have books, we have meditations, video dialogues. If you're interested, you can learn more about it, and we would love to support you in the journey if that feels like something that would be nourishing for you. But we'll move to questions now, if that's okay, because I want to make sure that we honor the folks that are on the call and have some time to maybe answer a few questions. What do you think about that, Bruce?
Well, a very tough situation with over 1,000 people watching to answer somebody's question. So let's try a couple of them.
Yeah, we'll get to a few. So, Caitlin, I will hand you the ball.
All right, so we've got a couple questions in the Q&A. If you're in the audience, reminder to put your questions in the Q&A and not in the chat so we can track them. But I have the first one here. It says, I'm curious what Dr. Lipton would say about the potential for an intuitive approach to music improvisation to help us retune and retrain our body, mind, and spirits, using the power of sound, thought, and connection to re-experience ourselves and each other.
Well, the important part of the sound connection is sound is a vibration. And as I mentioned, vibration is a field of energy, and energy entangles. So, sound, especially music, is very important in shaping the character of our lives. We also have to recognize, there are sounds like in war, the drumming of war is a sound that gets people worked up to fight. But there's a sound of a lullaby, and a lullaby helps people calm down. And so, sound is an integral part of our world. Now, tuning into that sound and then being the person in charge of what sound I'm bringing in gives me the power to use that sound in very positive ways to enhance my life experience. Sound being a field and a field governing matter says then the sound will absolutely influence our body and its physiology, as well as influencing the physical things in our environment. Sound, I think biblically, I forgot, in the Genesis thing, first was the sound. And all organisms, the first sensation is vibration, and sound is the first connection with us and the world in which we live.
Amazing. Yeah, beautiful. And just to add to that really quickly, as a musician and the improvisation, we know that we're connecting with this field of energy and information through sound because sound is consciousness. And improvisation is such a beautiful way to channel the field. And as you know, the person who asked the question as a musician who likely plays with others, there's some kind of magic that happens when we play together. And so music is again this metaphor for life. What happens when we play together? Well, we're being informed by the field. So when we talk about creativity and improvisation, we have to remember that we're always co-creating. It's actually not really coming from the mind when we're at that level. It's really flowing through us, and we're the messengers. That's been my experience anyway.
Awesome. All right, let's get to another one. How do we most easily access and stay in the conscious creative mind?
Beautiful question.
It's a very difficult problem in today's world because we're being confronted by so many things we have to decide, actions, and all that. That takes us out of the conscious mind and puts us into the program mind. The two ways. One is stop thinking. Stop thinking. It's not a likely answer, okay? The other opportunity is to what? Change the program. Because what if your programs match your wishes and your desires? Then that means when you defer to the program, you'll still be manifesting what you wanted, not the programs that we downloaded from other people. So, reprogramming is really the most serious aspect of taking back the power of your life. Because if I can trust my program to take care of me in a very positive way, it doesn't matter if I'm thinking. because when it takes over, I'm still going to the destination my conscious mind wanted. So personal empowerment comes from you, your ability to change the programs to fit what you want in your life, not the ones we downloaded from other people.
Yes, and I would just add to that, from the clinical psychology side, anybody tried to stop thinking? It's kind of hard, right? But we don't have to despair, because when we talk about stopping thinking, it's also just about realigning with the present moment, right? And so many traditions teach us this. Of course, mindfulness became very big here in the West. Present moment awareness without judgment. But there are many ways to get there. You can do mindfulness meditation practice. It's a great practice. But guess what? Going into nature, opening our ears and listening to the sounds around us, engaging in creative acts are ways to not have the conscious thinking program mind take over the show. So there are a lot of ways to realign with the creative mind beyond the conscious mind, even if we don't feel like we can totally stop our thinking. The mind is going to do what it does. It's also about where we're placing our awareness. So some of my favorite practices for expanding that awareness beyond the mind include go into nature. So nourishing for us right now. Nature has so much wisdom. We just connect with that bigger field, and it brings us to a sense of peace and quietude so that we can receive the field more strongly. And then from there, allowing the emotions. We didn't talk a lot about emotions today. We do talk about it more in the immersion, and we will, I'm sure, in our intensive. We need to flow with the emotion. We can't stuff it, we can't suppress it. When we allow the emotions to flow out, the thinking mind gets a little more quiet because we're not suppressing the energy. And so the thinking mind doesn't have as much to hold on to. So there are many ways.
Yeah, emotion, emotion, energy in motion is the drive force behind a thought. You can have a thought, it won't go anywhere until you put some emotion behind it, and then you manifest. So emotions are very fundamental, and the vibrations are a manifestation of emotions, or actually what emotion is driving, the power of those vibrations. So uh, we have so much power within us, and yet our programming has been designed to take away our power. Because when you take away your power, somebody else has got the power. And right now, excuse me, right now we feel we are victims because our wishes and desires are not easy to manifest in a world that is falling apart. It's very important, a little piece of advice from a futurist, Buckminster Fuller. He said, if you want to change the system, you don't go in and fight the old system. You step outside, create a new system. Shamini and myself provide you with a foundation of that new system. This is what my work is all about. I mean, hey, BruceLipton.com. All of the things we're talking about are freely downloadable videos, audios, all kinds of stuff. Why? Because both of us have been dedicating our lives to uplift everyone else. Why? Because if we've uplifted our own, we can tell you there's a difference before and after. Yeah, I have two lives: before the science, after the science. Before the science, world's in chaos. After the science, I'm in the middle of joy and happiness. I live a honeymoon every day. Why? Because my programs are not going to respond to the chaos that's out in the field. I have a different program, a different vibration. And Shamani's work and effort is to help us reshape those programs, reshape those vibrations. Why? It's all thought that created this. And if we change the thought, we change the world.
Ultimately, this is about us reminding ourselves of the truth of who we are, divine beings having a human experience, here to learn from the Earth School and enjoy the Earth School, enjoy all the goodness, the beauty, the resonant life force that's in all of us, in all things, honor, revere it, and connect together. So I hope that you've enjoyed this discussion in the circle today. I am deeply, deeply grateful that we've had the opportunity to do this. And again, want to thank all the team members behind the scenes who helped facilitate this for us. Thank you, Bruce, for showing up as you have for many, many decades to really inspire, delight, enlighten people on the truth of our power. And it's just my honor to walk alongside you. Thank you so
And
much.
I'm honored because I can talk about it, but you help people engage it. There's two different levels. Hey, I can tell you about how the idea of it, but Shamini says make the idea manifest. And this is where the two of us come together. I'll lead out with ideas, and Shamini will come back and say, how can I use that information to create the life I want? And I want to tell you, as a person who has two separate lives, pre-post awareness about this, I love my life. I live every day to wake up. I'm so glad I get to wake up every day and be here with this consciousness because I surrounded myself with the like-minded consciousness. And the chaos is so far away from me that I'm not touching it. And I'm being protected by what? The field. And everybody, and Shamini brought it up. The more people that are broadcasting the harmony of this field, the more powerful the amplification of the field. And the
Yes.
more powerful the field, the more it will change the world around us. And so I want to thank the audience. Why? Your field is what brought you here. And your field, in harmony with all the others on this line, is the force that collectively changes the world and helps us move into an evolution in which we could thrive.
So well said, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for contributing to this call with your energy, your heart, your mind. We are sending many blessings. We're all sending many blessings to each other from the heart, that you can take the coherence that perhaps you felt today during the hour and bring that to continue to nourish you throughout the day, throughout the week, and nourish others as well. Be well, and we hope to stay in touch with you. Thank you so much.